Hey, everybody, Ron Vaimberg here with another special podcast interview with James Giarriputo, who is very, very successful in the mortgage industry for many, many years. And he is currently a branch manager for Canyon Mortgage, which he's been there for 10 years. He's the president of Yes Lending, which is focused on non-traditional lending for multifamily and commercial projects as well. And he's also the president of Vision Development Group. So when he's not busy writing mortgages and when he's not busy working on commercial lending, he's actually working on developing real estate in different parts of the Northeast. James, welcome to the Ron Vaimberg podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
James, so glad you could make it. And so I'm gonna start off with just a couple of softball questions. You've been with Canyon Mortgage for 10 years, but how long have you been in the mortgage industry?
If I had to take a stab at it, I was started when I was about 24 years old, so it's about 29 years
About 29 years. All right. And at this point, it's kind of like one of those things that once you're in, you're never leaving, right?
now. Yeah, it's all I know. That's it. I wouldn't know what else to do. I wouldn't.
It's all you know. Now, I've been working with you and we've known each other for many, many years. And, one of the things you've always said to me, which I've always pushed back on you, is you've always said, Ron, I've been very successful, but I don't know how I do it. And I've always told you, yeah, you do. And you just don't really know how to break it down. So we're going to talk about some of those things today that you do to be successful, but we're also going to talk about some of the things that you do, which is really the game changer, the difference maker for your clients and referral partners, because that's really what this is about. So when it comes to, let's focus right now just on, residential lending, the place that you've spent the majority of your career.
Yeah.
When it comes to dealing with clients, and this is going to be a very wide question, but you've been successful. What is your philosophy? What are your thoughts in about how you run your business, how you take care of clients? So when I ask that question, where does it take you?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you where it takes me, and it's like everyone is different, and that's what I've. That's what's the key. And my different is not better than your different. It's just different. And where I feel that I stood out in my years or was able to gain momentum and help me with my successes, I was very service oriented. I'm a smaller shop and that works well with me, but I was available on Saturdays. I was available on Sundays. If my phone rang, believe it or not, at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, I picked it up. And if I didn't pick it up and I stepped away from my phone for a minute, I called them back. Even though my wife would say, excuse my French, who the hell is that? I would call him back. So I was always about meeting clients. I had an appointment yesterday in the office at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. I would go. So that's what really stood out. Someone told me a long time ago, I'm a blue collar guy in a white collar world. And I just worked hard and I was always available. I never let it go. So that to me, it was important for my model, my thinking was to always be available. That's it.
So if I heard this correctly, because we're doing this interview on a Monday, did you just tell me that you were working yesterday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Okay. So 29 years in the business and you're still giving that ultra personalized service.
Whenever I can.
Okay. Now, there are some people that will look at you and say, crazy, well, how do you have a life? Now, again, I'm asking these questions. I know the answers to these questions, but I want you to tell the audience how you have a life because I know you do. You have a great life.
I think part of my success comes from my spouse also. Not to get too personal right now, but she understands who I am and what I need to do in this world that I ventured into when I was 24 years old. And she's accepting of it. And we're very good in our respective roles. And that's a big part of it. And I just do it. I just do it. We balance, we do it. We still have a great life. And she knows I am a worker and I need to work in order to make a living. That's it. Very simple.
I know you're at a place right now, and obviously you have, Yes Lending, which is a recent, endeavor for you, as well as Vision Development Group, which is really just a couple of years old. So you're branching into those. But it seems like, mortgage origination and helping people who are looking to buy, helping people who are refinancing is just something that no matter what, you're not interested in really getting away from. Why is that?
I guess it's just how I'm wired, you know.
Okay.
I'm a worker. That's who I am. And people say, when are you going they ask me, when are you gonna slow down, retire? What does that even mean? I don't even know what that word means. I don't even want to look it up in the dictionary. I'm a worker. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to explain it. It's how I'm wired, you know, and I love it. I do love it. Do I love the career path I chose? I don't know. Because it does have its ups
Yeah,
and
I don't know
downs,
how
and
motivating that is for the audience, but okay.
yeah, it does have its ups and downs. We all know it does have its highs and lows, a lot of highs and lows. But at the same token, I did really well for a really long time. So I guess I do love it, or else I wouldn't be here.
You work, you're located in the New York marketplace, and that's predominantly, in the Metro New York area, and me being from the New York area as well. Pretty much, the clientele really can't get much more diverse than where you're located, which is Western Nassau County near the Queens border. So you're hitting Long Island, you're hitting Westchester, you're hitting the boroughs of New York, all different personalities, all different nationalities, all different heritages, all different. Um, you name the employment situation, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah,
And how do you manage all of that? Because it takes a lot to serve such a diverse group.
everyone, people will call you up and say, "What are your rates?" They'll call you up and say, "Can I get a mortgage?" And the key is every transactional person's situation is different, and to understand, which over time you just do it. So that's the best way to learn is to just do it, and we just do it. You know, we manage by knowing our product line. We might manage by knowing the environment we're in, um, and we just do it. I've got a good team, and I do believe that you are only as good as the people around you, also. And I'm lucky enough to have a decent team that's stuck with me now, for a number of years, and we're pretty good at what we do. We're pretty good at what we do.
If I were to interview a number of your clients,
Mhm.
and I were to say, tell me what James has done for you, what would they say?
I would like to think that they would say,
But wait, by the way, because it's just so everybody knows, because I've known James for many years, this is not an easy question for him because James is as humble can be, and I'm putting him into a place that I know is not a simple place for you, James. But you're welcome.
James was instrumental in getting us a home for our family. And they feel what I did was monumental. And in some cases, with some of these transactions, it was. I'm not going to downplay anything or take any credit away from myself, but for the most part, they don't understand what we do every day, and they feel that it is monumental. And I think they're gracious, and the fact that we pick up the phone on a Saturday and a Sunday and all those kinds of things, and I get a lot more good reviews than bad, and they are gracious.
Well, I also know your business is made up of, well, it's 100% referral
Oh, yeah.
because you have developed an incredible network. And this is where, you and I always kind of like, well, I don't know how I did it. And, how I've been so successful. And again, I always said, I know how you're doing it. And it's because you are very good at making relationships, but you just do it being you and not with this whole, which I'm all about people being themselves. But one of the things that you've always told me when you meet people is, and it's one of the things I always talk about, is you take a sincere interest in them and you just ask questions. And when you sit there and you just ask questions, I mean, you know, what happens when you do that?
It's funny that you say that because I had a gentleman in the office, I think it was Saturday, and he was kind of telling me his scenario and why it wouldn't work and why, just he knew better than me was the attitude there. And he's done a couple of mortgages, but he came to me with a referral and he was having issues. So I said to him, I said, listen, would you take a wrench to a mechanic and tell him what to fix? After a while. And she looked at me a little like weird. And I says, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
need to.
What did you ask him?
I said, would you take a wrench to a
A wrench.
mechanic for your car and tell him what to fix? And he looked at me like I was being like a wise guy a little bit. And I says, some of the questions I'm asking you are not only having to do with your transaction, but you. And I'm starting out processing everything. And I'm an advocate of starting from square one, even though you've been through square nine. I don't care. I have to process it and know who you are. Because there may be something there that someone might say something to me that a light bulb might go on where, hey, wait a minute, we shouldn't do it like this. We've got this over here that we can introduce. And it's just how I think. And I have to tell you, if I had to be honest with you, people don't always gravitate towards me. I come off as a little intense and a little whatever you want to say, and that's who I am, and that's okay. But what they do leave with me, after meeting with me, I should say, is knowing that they have confidence in my experience and that they feel like I'm going to be able to get this done based on the meeting itself. So that's the building of the relationship right there. That's what I do.
Okay, well, you can't leave us hanging. You're telling us a story, and then you said, well, he thought you were being a little
well,
sarcastic or
well,
over.
he came in thinking he couldn't get a loan, but he figured he'd try one more time because he tried with three other brokers and then was referred to me. And the way I was able to think about the transaction was outside the box. And I'm not saying I'm the best at what I do, but maybe in that moment, that specific client, I gained a little bit different perspective on it where it helped. And now we have a deal working. And he's happy so far.
Yeah, we're only one day in, but at least you've taken him further uh, with possibility than anybody else has. And I want to just make sure the audience doesn't miss such a great point that you made, and that is, no matter who it is, you always start at square one because you never know what they could. And I'm paraphrasing, but you never know what they could tell you that could give you a way to do something or solve their issue or help them, that if somebody never asked them those questions, would never be able to figure out. And it almost sounds like in this situation, because you asked questions, whatever they may be, that others didn't, you were able to figure out a way to make this deal work.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty much.
What do you love most about the mortgage industry? As we wind down this call or this podcast, what do you love most?
Uh, there's a couple of things, but I'll give you an idea of what I've told people through the years. When I started in the business, there would be a couple of days of dryness, I would call it. No new deals, not a lot of phone calls, and whatever. You're just pushing and pushing and nothing. And then one day you wake up and you have 5 new deals on your desk. And I don't know what it is about that, but I'm an originator first. I'm not a closer. I don't think about closings. I always think about the next deal. I don't ABC always be closing. I'm always be originating is my mentality. So the closings will come if deals come in. That's the way I think. So that part of it, the excitement of waking up and getting new business, drives me. I love it. I don't know what it is, but I love it. And I never went to college. I wasn't into school. It wasn't my thing. So where would I make the money and be able to provide the life that I do for my family if it wasn't for this business? So I'm an average guy, 24 years old. My sister Donna, who's a mortgage underwriter for I don't know how many years, 40 years. She's a little older than me. So said that when I was 24, try this. That was it. And here I am. So between the living that you're able to make if you put in the effort, because you're going to get out what you put in anything in life, and the excitement of it. I don't know. That's it. And Nadine, one of my processors, her name is Nadine. A long time ago, she told me she was my assistant at first, and she ventured into processing. I said, "Do you want to try this?" And she said, "Yeah." And after a little bit, how do you feel? She goes, "I just love working with all these different people in different scenarios." It's almost like, because from time to time, I flip a house, and it's like you take this house that is dilapidated and you make it beautiful. Sometimes people's situation is a little dilapidated, and we're able to provide the whole family the home. And I don't think people who are in the business like myself realize how important our job is. We have such an important job. It is not even funny how important our job is that we take for granted every day. I would hope that if I was going to refinance my home and I was not in the mortgage business, that someone sat around my dining room table, came to my home to sit with me and my wife around my dining room table. My kids were playing in the next room, that they took their job serious, because my home, my family, and everything about it is really important.
It's very, very clear what drives you. That's not even a question.
Mhm.
I know you love to learn. I know you're very hard on yourself, and I know you love to learn. I'm not going to get into why you're so hard on yourself. We don't need to do that.
We're not going to peel that on you right now.
Right. We need a few more hours for that.
Yeah.
But what drives you to keep learning? Because, you know, I know, yes, lending, you don't need less. First of all, you don't even need to work anymore if we're talking strictly financially. Now, I know if you didn't work, you'd go out of your freaking mind. That I know. But you don't need yes lending. You don't need vision development group. Um, Yet you keep striving for more, and you keep and developing these other companies requires a lot more learning as well, in addition to just being better at what you do in your mortgage profession as a branch manager and loan officer. What drives that?
I'm an originator. So what does that mean? I'm always going. I need more. What that mean, what personality trait that is, I'm not exactly sure what you call that. But, you know, I just I enjoy working, and the industry and field that I'm in, this is what you do. They go hand in hand. Real estate goes with mortgages. Private loans go with regular mortgages. It's all intertwined. So why do I open up new divisions, new companies, hire new people, and try new ventures? It's just what I do. It's just who I am. I don't have a clear cut answer for you other than I like to work. I do. I really, really do.
I know you said, as we get to the end here, there's something that you had said to me relating to the growth of Vision Development Group. And I know that you buy property in Pennsylvania and you restore it, rental properties. And one of the things that you had mentioned to me early on, because I remember, we've known each other for years. You had mentioned early on that one of the things that was very important to you was that whenever you renovate, you bought a property and you renovated it, it had to be done right, and that you were very focused on giving people a great place to live. Okay. Can you expand on that a little bit?
I
Because I
think
know that,
it's funny you say that, because I spoke to a prospective tenant yesterday. I'm not going to get into a personal situation, but I think sometimes I have a hard time with being shrewd, and I'm not all about business. I come from a very, loving upbringing. My children are loved very much so, and that goes over into business sometimes. That way, that mentality, that type of that's how I carry myself, my character. These are people's homes. I know it's what I do to make another lane of a living, but there's a lot of landlords out there. We call them slumlords. I am not one of them, and I will never be. There's children that live there. There's husbands and wives. They put their head down on that pillow every night in my apartment that I provide for them. I don't know how else to think about it other than these are human beings that live in the buildings that I provide. So they have to have a nice home to live in. That's the way I think about it. That's it.
James, I'll finish with this.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many times that you've said to me, I don't know, I don't know how I do it. I just do it. In the last 20 minutes, you couldn't have defined better how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. Because you love to work, but you love to take care of people. You love to help people. And, I'm a very big believer. I share the same beliefs that just the more people you help, the more, the more prosperous your life will be. And it's not just about money. It's about just how you feel. And, we get along very well because we share similar values. And that's pretty much the same with all of my clients. But you clearly defined that your heart drives everything you do. Would you agree with me on that?
I mean, I don't want to sound.
No, I'm asking the question. So you're not bragging.
I do agree. I do agree to a detriment sometimes, but yes, I do agree.
I've always found that doing the right thing is never a detriment, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I get it. That's the only way I know how to be.
James, is the final question. It's like you're on
Sure.
Jeopardy.
Sure.
Okay. I know you've never really been interviewed before. You've never done anything like this before. But we have an audience here of mortgage professionals, but we also have an audience here of clients, um, buyers, sellers, homeowners, past clients, because this is the type of interview that can go anywhere. What would be the one more thing that you'd want everybody to know about you that you haven't yet told us?
I think you never know. And I don't know if it's about me, but it's just about people in general. I'm going to present it that way. That you never know what shoes someone's walking in. Um, so I wish um, everyone would reciprocate kindness. I wish because sometimes it's hard to be you. It's hard, but you keep going. You keep going. Why do I like to work so much? I keep going. That's it. You know,
James, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join me to share so much that I know the audience is going to love. I appreciate you, buddy. Not just as a client, but love you as a friend.
thank you, buddy.
And just very grateful for these few minutes today that we could share, or that you could share, really. Some valuable insights that I know anybody, be it in the business or outside the business, can take from this. So very much appreciative of you, buddy. Thanks
Right
so
back
much.
at you. Right back at you.
Cool.